You'll see how different the leaves are. This was called a marguerite daisy. These lemon lilies are blooming. They're one of my favorites. These are geraniums, actually pelargoniums, that I planted near the door. And here is a red daylily. Here was an orange daylily, of which there seems to be no shortage. Here is some echinacea. Here is yellow, and I think this is red when it starts blooming. Look at all the blooms coming on in the echinacea. Am I saying that right? Here is dianthus. I was thinking it was called Sweet William. I don't know. Maybe they're the same. These things look a lot like daisies. I don't know what they are. Maybe there's just lots of different kinds of daisies. Here is some more red daylilies. This is the same plant growing over here that's growing over there. It's just got these two big stems. And it seems to be happy here, whatever I'm doing right, I don't know. This is another daisy here I planted a couple days ago. See how different the leaves are? This was called a marguerite daisy. Here's some phlox I planted earlier this year or last. I think it was early this spring. Well, I got them bare root from, I think, Gurney's this spring. And these are tiger lilies out here in the more full sun than the ones up there. And you can see that they're blooming pretty well. And I think that's all because of they get more sun here, maybe, I don't know. But tiger lilies is another one of the plants that I really like. And here is Stachys byzantia. The leaves are really soft. And we used to call them bunny rabbit's ears. And they're getting ready to bloom here. See, they have these tall purple flowers. They actually look kind of bad. And so when they're done blooming, I just cut them off. And this thing volunteered here. I had it growing years ago, and I did something to kill it. Here you can see it blooming right there. And it went away, and then it just came back here, out here in the middle of the path. Probably from moving these. A lot of times I'm moving stepping stones and plants grow from probably little bits of dirt on them. I don't know. New coral bells that I planted just a couple of days ago. I bought them, and the pots are all root bound, and I got them really super cheap. Hardy lilies here. They smell so good. Well, I bought them from Breck's, I think, and they're probably called tree lilies, I think. But they're really sweet smelling. These are some tiger lilies I planted here years ago. Struggle again here with here's another one over here. You can tell they're tiger lilies by the little black bulbules down here in the center of the stem there. Yeah, let's see, there's five of them that all come from one little bulb I planted in there somewhere years ago. And this is another one of them tree lilies. And these are also blazed climbing roses. Need to cut that down. And can't get to it to smell it. And the plumbago is blooming right here. Here is some hardy geraniums. Almost the same color. I love this Plumbago. It's like a ground cover. There's many different kinds of it. Evidently this kind here is just like a ground cover. And it's growing all over here from one little plant. And in this pot here is just some geraniums. I think this winter I'm going to save all my geraniums. These are lemon lilies. They're a kind of daylilies. This is Cassandra. And this is just some creeping myrtle that worked its way in here. This is Lamium right there. This is kind of nice having all these little ground covers in here. If you want a really super low maintenance flower bed, that's one way to do it. You just put like these different ground covers. My favorite ground cover here is just the Plumbago though. And the daylilies is probably, you don't want to have a tall thing anymore. And these loose strife, they're not blooming now, but they can get kind of weedy looking. And these daylilies. This is a more dwarf daylily, and I guess I'm not sure of the name. There is a dwarf daylily called Stella, and I don't know if this is it or not. You can see how much smaller this daylily is from this one here. This has only been growing here for a few years, and it's been slowly multiplying. But you can see it's nearly a head high on me. So if you want a more nice dwarf daylily for the front of the house, this one is a lot better. And this here is a hibiscus that I planted, I think a couple years ago. And it was just a bare root, and I even forgot where I bought it. But you can see right in here, there's some blooms coming on. And hibiscus is like a lot of moisture, and they don't start until late in the year. And have a very huge blooms, the size of the palm of your hand. And here is another hibiscus. This hibiscus loves this location. It's right here by the hose. And it's got these blooms here coming on. And right here is some blooms. You can see how big they are right there. Kind of down in there. But look at all these blooms coming on. Because it really likes this location right next to the garden hose. So every time you use the garden hose, it gets wet again. And this here is bee balm. And I didn't know it was so big when I planted it here. I cut it to the ground, and then it's grown back this much, just in a month or so. But when I've got one out back that I'll show you, that is waist high. These are American violets. This is Lily of the Valley. And this is Astilbes. They have a large plumey flower. Here's geraniums. I love the smell of geraniums. This Lily of the Valley has a really nice smell. It has a small, kind of insignificant white bell-shaped flowers, but they really smell good. Here's a Heuchera. It almost died and that came back. Here is a more Heuchera, coral bells. Here's Monarda. Here's some more coral bells. These are lily of the valleys that I don't want. Here's a geranium. Look at all the new growth on it. And here's another geranium. Here's more begonias. Here's begonia. And another begonia. You can see the little bulbules on them. This is a horrible vine. To get rid of this horrible vine, you can just follow it to the ground. And instead of having to undo it all the way down there, just find it at the base. Here's my herb garden a few days later, after I planted it. See these cucumbers, they made the move just fine in July. And look at them, they're doing great. And these zinnias, I planted these from seed earlier this year, and that is seed that I saved from last year. Here's some nasturtiums. These look different because of the leaves have a darkish color. Here's some more creeping thyme. Here is forget-me-not right here. And basil. This is going to be a nice herb garden. And there's some cosmos. Look at that. I don't know what kind of butterfly that is. That's on this. This is bee balm. Morning glory I don't want. Let's just get rid of it. So yeah, my herb garden is doing just great after a few days. For about a week. You can see my hibiscus blooming really good. And it's got several blooms on it here. This is right near the garden hose, which seems to be a perfect location for it. It loves all that water. These hibiscuses don't start growing until late in the season, maybe the 1st of June or before that slightly. But look how big this one here is. Here's the base of it right down there. And it grows clear out, maybe at least 4 feet wide here. This is, and look at all these blooms coming on. Wait, look at that. Bigger than the palm of my hand. This flower bed is coming out really nicely this year. This here is a smaller version of that Missouri primrose. I should look up the names so I can see the differences. They're both from the genus Oenothera, but that's all I know. I'll look up the rest for you. These are moss roses. I love them. And this is loose strife. It lays down and then it sends up all these spores. It's been doing pretty well. And this here, I just planted this here a couple weeks ago. It was one of those plants that was in a pot I got super cheap, all with the roots all pot bound and crowded in there, and it's doing really well. And look at all the blooms that are coming on. And this here is a vine that keeps trying to grow in this flower bed, and I keep pulling it out. There, I got the roots, so hopefully that one won't come back. I don't know how many seeds it's dropped everywhere in this past. These are some petunias I planted that were also in that batch of flowers. And this coming up right here is a resurrection lily. The foliage and the blooms are at different times of year and separately. They have foliage in the early spring with the daffodils. Then the foliage dies back with the daffodils, and then in this time of year, the last part of July, they just send up these tall flowers that are really nice looking. This is a variety of sedum that I planted last year that is evidently perennial. This is Alboris, or Christmas rose or Easter rose, but it's blooming here in July. And this is also the same plant. This is getting to be kind of a big plant. And these leaves here are Lamium. I've got them mixed in with Vinca in here. This is a rhododendron, a huge old rhododendron. I planted it in the 1980s when I first moved in here. Look at the leaves on this hosta. It even collects water. The flowers are the only hosta I know of that smell really good, and hummingbirds are attracted to them. This bloom will get about that high. Here's one of the flowers right here. But there'll be a whole tall stack of those flowers right here. And it might send up more bloom stalks too. There's a morning glory trying to take over my cosmos. Morning glory, it is a vigorous self-seeder, and its plants will cover over everything else. So, and I'm also pulling up this grass while I'm here. To pull up this kind of grass right here, the way you do it is put your finger and go around it so that you get the whole thing in your hand. Pull up. So you put your whole hand around it like that and pull up. I just start off by putting one of my fingers around it and my thumb. So it's fingers, and then just pull up. And I leave it on the ground because, like you can see, yesterday when I was pulling leaves, I left all the organic material is a great addition to the soil. Here's one I didn't pull up. Here's another one. This is lamb's quarters. Some people say you can eat that, but I've never tried it. So all my herbs I planted the other day are doing okay. And this cucumber, both of the cucumbers, I think this is a squash actually. Here's some big, is this crabgrass? I don't know, you can tell me if you know. Just put your hand all around the base of the bottom, pull up, so you got the roots and everything. These are peppers. I think they're actually habaneros. I ate one the other day and it was actually pretty hot. Here's a bigger one right there. And this is asparagus. Got a little bit of everything growing in here. And these are forget-me-nots that volunteered from last year. That's where the cosmos all volunteered from last year. I didn't plant those there. I'm gonna, in the spring, if some more come back, I'll dig some up and plant them in some other flower beds everywhere. Like the new one I'm making over there and out front. Those would be nice out front to have all those blooming like that out front now. Oh, and here. Here's another cucumber. Those are nasturtiums. And those are nasturtiums. And this is a California poppy. I just started these seeds this year. Right there. And look at them. Yeah, so these are cosmos that volunteered. And this is California poppies that I planted here. The resurrection lilies have been blooming really good. Look at all these, got all these more blooms coming on. Here's a hibiscus here. It's just getting ready to bloom. You can see all the ones blooming there. These moss roses are doing really good. They're blooming all over the place. And this hibiscus over here, this is a huge one. Look at that. And it's got several blooms on it. Some of them are finished. Some of them are just coming on. And this is my resurrection lilies over here. There's a whole bunch of them. Looks like one here got knocked over by some cats or something in there. Here's one that's just coming on. Look at all of the moss roses over here. They have done so well this year. And these are next year's poppies. Oh, this is loose strife. It blooms earlier in the year. Looks like there's blooms coming on though here. I don't know why there'd be blooms coming on now though. Unless it's going to bloom again. Look at all these blooms coming on. This hibiscus just loves it right here. The base of this plant is right down here. And every year, everything above ground dies back because of the cold. And then it grows back more growth next year. This is Phlox. Sometimes you see them called tall garden phlox. And here's more salvia over here getting ready to bloom. There's a bunch more down here. It's doing really well. I planted that later, just a few weeks ago. This is a hibiscus I had out here. I thought it died, but it's finally getting started for this year. Huh, how about that? Guess you can't tell. This is a hardy gladiola that I got from Rex a few years back. You can see it's grown into a nice clump here, like that. And this is just starting to bloom. This is Croxamia. I also got it from Rex. And it's a few years back, and it's grown into a nice clump here. This is a catmint that's growing in down here at the base. I think I originally planted the catmint over there, but it's kind of grown out this far. And this is honeysuckle. I need to come over here and tie up this stuff. This is Lycoris. It's just starting to bloom. It's been growing here for a few years. This is honeysuckle that's blooming. All these coral bells. Looks like they're getting ready to bloom. Here's a zinnia. This is a cucumber. Look at all the blooms. I should have a lot of cucumbers. And these are cosmos that volunteered. That's a zinnia. This is a cosmo. And these yellow flowers are California poppies. I just planted those from seed this year. This is a nasturtium. These are forget-me-nots. This is asparagus. Here's a zinnia. Here's some basil and sage and blueberries and rosemary and chives. And these are hot peppers.